When did you when did you start riding motorbikes?
I started when I was 18. I started late, so my dad bought me a bike, and the bug bit straight away. I went to a couple of WFOs, which is regional enduros down in Tel. That's where I sort of learned how to ride, and so to cut my teeth in enduro riding. And the bug bit after that, and I started winning relatively quickly. I think I sort of jumping in the deep end and riding all the time, and it's just been on the up from there. I had a bit of a break for 2 or 3 years, from about 05 to about 08. I started racing a bit of cars and stuff, but got tired of the politics there quickly, and I thought at least if I race motorbikes, if I don't win, it's because I never rode fast enough, not because I had a weaker engine than someone else. So.
You're currently leading the National Enduro and the National Off-Road Series.
Yeah. This year's been going really well for me. My Yamahas have been perfect all year. They're really a weapon for me, And last year I rode a big 4-stroke as well, and it was more difficult for me to win. So I had to train a lot harder, and that was actually probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because before last year I never really did much cardio and real training for my riding, and because I rode the big bike last year I had to, and when I got onto the Yamahas this year, winning became easier again, because the bike was a lot lighter and a lot easier for me to win on. So it was really good for me.
The difference between the Enduros and the Off-Road Series?
Yeah, our Enduros are generally a lot tighter than the Off-Roads. Off-Roads are exactly that, they're more Off-Roads type Jeep tracks and faster roads, some copies here and there, but Off-Roads is what I enjoy the most. It's the tight technical riding, as you saw at the car the other day.
Starting Off-Roads is what I enjoy, Enduros is what I enjoy. You said Off-Roads is what I enjoy.
Okay, we start that again.
Yeah, start again, go for it. What's the difference between the National Enduro Series and the National Off-Road Series?
Yeah, our Enduros are a lot tighter than the Off-Roads. Off-roads are exactly as the word explains it. They're sort of Jeep tracks and off-road gravel roads and stuff. There's a copies every now and then, but the racing is generally a lot faster than Enduros, and I don't enjoy it that much, but we get good TV coverage and publicity from it. So it's something that I know the sponsors need us to do, to get their mileage. So I'm there, and at the moment I'm leading off-road, so it's good, but I enjoy the Enduros a lot more, and the tight technical riding is where I excel.
In terms of the extreme Enduros, you've done 2 this year, and you've got at least another one coming up for the roof. Tell us a bit about each of those races.
This year I did Erzberg for I think the 5th time. It's a race that the first time I did was in 2002. I got a 3rd place, and then in 2003 and 4 I got 3rd places again. Then in 05 I hurt my knee there, and that was sort of when I took a break from riding. I've had good success there. But lately at Erzberg, the trials riders have come into our sport a lot, and they've realised that with their trials background, they can a few of them can adopt that riding to an off-road enduro bike, and they can actually show the enduro riders how it's done. So it's not annoying at the moment that the trials riders are that good and they're that far ahead of us in extreme enduros. But we're working hard at it. I've got a trials bike now, and see if we can take the fight to them. That was Erzberg. This year I finished 7th there, which is, to me it's actually better than the 3rd places a few years ago, because a few years ago it was more enduro riders, and now it's a whole new level and a lot better riders that go there. And with all the trials riders, it really becomes difficult to get into the top 10. So the 7th is almost better than the 3rd a few years ago. But then this year for the first time I went to Red Bull Romaniacs, which is in Austria. Romania. So that was my first outing there, and there was baptism of fire, man. It was raining for 2 weeks before the race, and I think they declared it a national disaster area. Yeah. So, but the race carried on, and they didn't shorten it, and all the hills just became 3 times worse, and That was good. I finished 5th there, which was very good for me as well. Again, first sort of normal enduro rider that hasn't done trials before and hasn't been at least up there in the world in trials, so I was very happy with that. And it was a good race. It's beautiful. The Carpathian Mountains are extreme, to say the least, and it was a good opportunity for me to get some more worldwide coverage there.
Did you see anything on any of the other riders' skills that you said, damn?
Yeah, many times. I mean, I would be able to ride because we'd start a minute apart in the day, and the faster riding, I'm faster than them. So I'd catch all the trials riders and we'd ride together until we get to one of the stupid hills that they put in for that day, and lining up behind them, I'd see them hop up and sort of get through up a hill, and I was like, right, my turn. And then I'd cock it up like an absolute clubman, and I'm thinking, yeah, good sight, you've got so much to learn. And, but yeah, it was a big eye opener, and I came back and bought a trials at Tattaro. So I know it's going to take a long time to be able to learn what they do, and it's not as easy as everyone would like to think it is. Just buy a trials bike and get good, but yeah, it's a start, I think.
The Roof of Africa is at the end of November. Last year you were on a bigger bike, and this year you're going to be on.
Yeah. This year I'm going to be on a 252 stroke Yamaha. It's the same bike that I rode at Erzberg, so it's going to be the ideal weapon, I think, for the Roof of Africa. Last year I rode, like you said, a heavy 4-stroke, and I took big strain, but I managed to finish 3rd still, only I think 10 seconds behind 2nd place. I broke a chain 20 k's from the end of the race, so that took me out of 2nd place. But the year before I was 2nd on a 2-stroke to Chris Birch as well in 08. So yeah, I'm a lot fitter than I was then, and riding the right bike this year, and hopefully I can race with him. They've changed the format of the race a little bit at the Roof of Africa. Last year I think there was only 6 people that actually finished the first day. So this year they want to make it sort of like the world ride races, where they have the first day is difficult but finishable for a lot of the people. So, and then the last day was going to be ultra extreme. So it'll be good. We'll have a lot more finishes, and there'll be a gold, silver, bronze medal basis with the Roof. So they've changed everything, and I'm looking forward to it.
You enjoy riding in Lesotho?
I love Lesotho. Lesotho is my favourite place for riding, other than Natal, my hometown. But the sled paths and the rocky mountains, and the riding is extreme and a lot of fun. There's a lot of lowland riding, and there's always jumps and stuff that you can find, and banks and stuff to play on, which is what I love doing from what I grew up with. So I love Lesotho.
Next year there's the World Extreme Enduro Championship, which is going to be a combination of Erzberg, Romaniacs, Hell's Gate, Tough One, and Roof. Are you going to compete? Yeah,
I'll definitely do some of them. There's actually, I think, a lot of infighting between the races. I don't know if you know. There's now I found out when I was at Romaniacs. There's Tough One's out. They're not in anymore. They've sort of said, we don't care about your world championship. We do our own thing. Hell's Gates, they've been told that if they don't change the format, they're not going to be allowed to join, because you can't have one person finishing a race. The format they have, if a guy falls more than half an hour behind the leader, he gets taken out of the race, which is not really right. You need a sort of a points scheme and some guys to finish to get points. So at the moment it looks like it's Erzberg and Romaniacs and the Roof. I hear that America might be putting together something, because Jeff Acosta is the guy that's actually heading up the whole World Extreme Enduro Championship, and he's from America, so obviously he wants to have a race there to showcase what he's got. And at the moment I don't think there'll be an official World Championship next year, but I'll still go and do the races and compete, and maybe the year afterwards we'll have an official World Championship, which will be cool, because if there was one this year, I'd like to be able to think that I was 5th in the world, something like that. So, which is cool. You can compare yourself against them.
So, the races this year, so far, what's your favourite?
Including overseas races? Yeah, I would have to say Romaniacs, because I cut off the most I've ever in my life, but it was a really good result for me, and it was a major achievement. And it was my first time there, and so I rode a bike that I wasn't used to, and I enjoyed it, and it was a big thing for me.
The other disciplines, we got enduro cross, which is apparently where you sort of got back into riding again in 2008.
That's right. Yeah, well, in the beginning of 2008, when I started focusing again on motorbikes only, they had an enduro cross in Pietermaritzburg, and very well set up track, and was really like sort of overseas enduro cross, so that was awesome. I went there and I won that, and it's not that I hadn't done it before, it's just that the riding that enduro cross takes is the sort of riding that I've grown up with and always done. At the coast when I was riding there on the weekends, we'd always try hop over logs or rocks and up banks and sort of, we call it do or die stuff. If you cock it up, you're going to hurt yourself. So yeah, that's taught me how to do that type of thing. And we had an extreme enduro cross the other day with South Coast Fever that organised it, and that was a really big success. We had, I think, 15,000 people there over the weekend watching it, so they loved it, and it really becomes a sort of a spectator sport, because it's sort of motocross enduro, and in a small confined area, and people are upside down all the time, and the guys are laughing, and it becomes quite a spectacle.
Do you think we can support an enduro cross series in South Africa?
Definitely. I've actually been thinking of doing it myself. It's going to take a lot of time, so I have to speak to Dad again and see how much time he can give me off work to get that organised. But yeah, it's definitely something that can work, and I think that people will enjoy it. And the best thing about it is that you can have it in a small little arena in the middle of a city somewhere. So the spectator value becomes really good, and you can get a lot of people to come and watch it, and you can do it at night. So definitely it can work, and I'm sure it will work in the next few years to come.
Have you ever done any motocross racing?
Yeah, I love motocross. It's actually staying up here in Joburg. The riding isn't great. I cringe when people say De Wilt and all those places and Chimes, and I don't enjoy the enduro riding up here. So the only riding I do is at motocross tracks up here, because the motocross tracks, they sort of put a bit of effort in and they water them, so they're not it's the only place in Gauteng that's not dry and dusty now. Is a good watered motocross track. So I enjoy it. I train on motocross tracks on the weekend because I can get more done in 2 hours of motocross than I can get done in 6 hours of De Wilt. And it works for me, and I'm doing well with it. So yeah, motocross is the way to go.
What's your favourite course or track up here?
Well, it's actually my favourite track is not up here. I actually won a 125 senior national race before in a motocross race. I came back from Germany and I raced in the mud there all the time, and when I got back here I borrowed a 125 KTM and I went to a national in Ishawi, and it rained so much there, it was like soup, it was like enduro. So I won that race, beat all the top South African motocross riders, and that was quite a highlight in my life for me, and so that I would have to say that Ishawi is my favourite track, because it's also nice black loamy soil, and they always maintain the track nicely.
Have you ever been appealed to do something like the Dakar?
Yamaha, now that I'm riding Yamaha this year, they did sort of, it was an option. They were going to bring in one of Fretnier's practice bikes, or last year's bikes, is 450s. But my sort of opinion about Dakar has always been that at least one of the top 10 or 15 guys dies, and which is not a nice thought. If I go to the Dakar, I want to at least finish top 10. So I work that back to say, right, well then I got a 1 in 10 chance of dying, so that's not good. But yeah, the Dakar has now become a lot slower, and now it's only 450s, so they are taking a lot of the dangerous side of things out. But still, when you have to race at 160 k's an hour and look at your GPS and your roadmap the whole time, you're not looking where you're racing. When you're going that fast, a split second can be lying on your head or staying on your wheels.
Cool. Time to get the more pretty face, bro. You want full throttle in here, eh?
Yeah, please.
I got the company seat, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, so you coffee, bro. Yeah. Alright, so you've got a full title sponsor, Full Throttle. Tell us a bit more about what they do for you. Cheers.